Hey y'all. We are here today with Danielle Deadwyler. I'm Jordan Ealey, and I was the production dramaturg for RIP. I wanted to sit down with Danny because it's nothing about this has been really traditional, and nothing about what we've done has been like the way you would quote unquote usually do theater or usually do performance. And so I thought it would be great to sit down and just, rap about it with you.
Rap about it? Let's do it.
Let's rap. Let's rap about it. Um so I wanted to
Yeah.
start off with, this is a piece that was adapted from another work, right? So I wanted you to talk a little bit about, one, where that work came from, and what has been the experience of taking it in its earlier form and transforming it into what we know and what we're going to be seeing now.
Yes. So RIP is a hybrid baby that comes from my MFA thesis in creative writing. I specialize in poetry. So this is a select group of poems that come from that thesis work. I thought about doing this for a really long time. It had to be at least maybe 3 years worth of thinking about it. Because I finished my thesis in 2017, but those works had come from, maybe 2014, a collection of that, because I had been in the program for like at least 3 years. And so getting to that completion and saying, oh, maybe it's not just about publishing, right? It's not me wanting to just make something that comes out in this form, this traditional form. I'm not interested in tradition. I'm interested in making new stuff, making new shit. And so, and figuring out the form along the way. And so I pulled together these poems that were at the root. The thesis was titled The Dissolution of Things. And it's about, it's still, that collection is digging into the themes that we're digging into and what it means for one to discover themselves, to birth a new self, to dissolve from something that was defining it, and that thing not being able to define it anymore. So I stuck with that and just mined the whole thesis to see what would make sense, what was making sense on a spiritual level, not just like, this poem goes, this poem goes, this poem goes, right? It was more, what's trying to tell a story connected to these themes outside of linearity, right?
Yeah.
That's how it got birthed. But more so, it was like, oh, let me send this out to Adaye, our director. Let me send this out to Jordan. Let me send this out to Rachel, and see what they say. And it was great to be affirmed to say, oh, these things are interesting. Oh, this is something. Now hold your horses. Let's make it a little something else. It's like molding the baby head.
Yeah.
That's what this was. That's when we got to me, you, and Adaye sitting down. It was like, hey, let's form this little baby. Let's not make it a cone head. So I really, that was the part that was the most. I didn't fear it, but it was that gave me the most like tension in my body, because I don't want to be a playwright. Right. I'm not a playwright. With winks, right? I'm not a playwright. I'm a poet, and I'm a performance artist, and I want to merge these worlds. So that's what I wanted to do. And so I was dealing with the tension of how to even get to making this a thing. But Rachel was totally cool with the abstraction in living in this whole other space. And so I said, okay, cool. Well, we're going to dig there some more. And you guys just gave me the willpower to help find a better shape, to help move it in a rich direction, which it was fun. moving the baby about, like
Yeah.
moving the legs around, and you don't have to have two legs next to each other. Let's put these
Yeah.
in this way. Let's, let's move the, let's take these fragments and put them where we want to, so that we tell the kind of story that we want to tell. And I thoroughly enjoyed that part of the process, and the going back and forth, because a lot of the times I'm, with things that I make, I do it on my own, or but I'm at a place right now where I'm very, very interested in collaborative work, and I'm interested in what does it mean for your ideals to impact my ideals, and for us to go back and forth. Let's ping pong. Let's ping pong. Ping ponging is fantastic, and I think that's like the future of my work for a while. Team building, team making, and that's what this was.
Yeah, and that to me brings in something that I've personally loved about this process, which is I love art that's multidisciplinary, and there's so many sort of strands that have come in to with through our conversations, through our collaboration. It's visual art, it's dance, it's sound, it's theater, it's Black performance. It's like all of these different threads being sutured together that like make this really multidimensional piece. And so I wanted you to talk a little bit about your inspiration for that. So like we have these series of poems, we read this, we talk through them, we say, all right, there's shit here. There's something that we can start playing with. And so how were you thinking about dance and sound, and how did that come through for you when you were transforming this into what we're going to be experiencing?
I'm always thinking about it. I'm always thinking about multiple forms coming together. This is just the first time I feel like it's come out like this. Because I'm out, everything performance art wise has been okay. Well, that was me stepping away from the word, right? That was me living fully in the body. Dance is my first medium, so it's like it's always rich for me. I lead with the body, and sound is therefore very much a part of that, right? I'm always into chopping. Chopping screwed is a thing for me. It's a reclamation of calling out. It's a living in the repeat. It's a digging. It's a getting to the root of stuff for me. So because that's a part of the piece too. So sound and dance, and then and repetition also being a form that is a part of this work, not just with the chopped and screwed, but I don't think I can do anything. I can do it, but I don't want to just live in one form, because we are multitudinous. We're multifaceted people. I feel people get things in a lot of ways. If you're not registering the word, you're registering the body. If you're not registering the body or the word, you're registering the sound. If you're not registering any of that, then it's the visual art, it's the aesthetics, it's everything is capable of catching a person. And one thing is capable of catching a person amongst all of that kind of chaos, which is not chaos in anyone's lay description of it. This is this systematized, rhythmic, off-kilter modality to get to a truth, right? And I don't know. I think, and that just has been very attractive to me. I think it is a kind of chaos when multiple things are coming together, and moving through that. Like I lived in the dance world, I lived in the theater world, I lived in the visual art world. Well, fuck it, let's put them all together.
Right. Yeah. And I think like it just brings this very holistic energy to the piece. And like you said, we're multitudinous people, especially Black people and Black art in particular. And I think there's a tradition of this in Black performance. It like, it's not the same of this, right? But like there's Indazaki Shange's work with the choreo poem. There's the folks of the Black arts movement who we're like fuck form, you know, like there's ways that Black artists have used this art to respond to. We don't have to do the traditional ways of it. We can explore this, and I think that Rip falls beautifully into that tradition. Thematically, what are some of the things that you are that you want us to get from this? So we have this woman, this young woman on stage. What do we want, like what is it that you were hoping to explore thematically through Rip?
I'm very interested in the ugly. and, and I'm very interested in what does it mean to emerge from those depths.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, um, I'm interested in what does it mean to break from lineage? What does it mean to define your own? Freedom is obviously a part of that. Whatever form of, what does freedom look like? Does it, because you know, we're very connected to this notion of our parents staying together and doing it for the children, and that being a beautiful sacrifice. But what if we don't want to do that? What is another kind of sacrifice? What is a different form of self-sacrificing, so that you can ascend to new heights? The chorus, we talked about this, you brought in Sadia Hartman, like, what does it mean to just be, what does a singular representation look like for a multitude? What does it mean to just be mundane? The beauty in that, the beauty in that ugly, right? And you can pull in, because I'm searching for all of them, and I'm like, where they at? I'm trying to pull things, right? You can throw them out there with me too, but what does it look like to not be a self-sacrificing woman? What does it mean to upend the masters in our lives, and to defy respectability, to get out of that, to get out of what tradition is calling for in our form, in our body, in our southernness, for that matter. Because you talked about, like, we were talking about Black performance and the tradition of what that is, but also, like, I mean, that's also a part of, like, half the reason why I wanted to do it. I'm like, I want to see more folks within our particular regional experience pulling out things that are outside of the tradition, and applying our Southern perspective onto a particular kind of approach. Yeah, that's it. And not necessarily having to do it in New York or LA.
Right. That's what I love it so much, of, like, you know, I love that you brought the Black South. Anytime I feel like I can talk about the Black South, I do. But there's a way, you know, I'm in the academy, you've been in the academy, and there's a way that experimental art, experimental forms are attributed to these, like, you know, New York spaces, LA, Chicago, right? Like, and that the South we're not bringing that kind of experimental or, like, abstract energy to this work, which is, you know, wholly not true. And I appreciate that comes through in Rip, of, like, the musicality of the South, the ways that we have to negotiate Black identity very differently in the Southern region, and the way that is transforms the chopped and screwed, like all of these sort of elements that are very particular to region, but still yet speak to this truth about Black experience, I think is very much at the center of this piece. And I'm gonna be very unfair right now, and I'm gonna ask about some other people you find inspiration from.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about my dramaturgy packet. I don't. Let's see. So it's Okui, right? Okwasili. Like I think I'm saying that last name right. What's my other joint? Because I was trying to think of their name and it's failing
Nora
me.
Shapamir.
Yeah, Nora Chibamir. Man, like those two specifically, right? Like we're talking about power. We're talking about a different kind of appreciation of word. It's not constructed sentences. It's something else. It's richer. It's a different kind of viral feeling that like hits all layers of nerves and muscle and sinew. Like it's doing something else. Those people are definitely major influences. I mean, we're definitely talking about hip hop. We're talking about the mixtape is a big deal, right? I'm very interested in that, and not necessarily like the forms that are coming out by people right now. Like you get a Meg mixtape, you get a or the old school like DMX or something like that. Like, what does it mean to put it's Instagram kind of almost like right the way people are coming up with all of these different things coming together. So just that form, like this amalgamated form. Who else? That's not unfair, but those things are. I'll probably put some other stuff will pop up in my head, but also love, just the notion of love. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What are all of the forms of it exposing itself? What does love look like besides, giving oneself unto another? And when is that not love? What I've been reading, a dear friend gave me The Art of Loving by Eric Fromm. So I've been meditating on that type of stuff for a lot, trying to come to a new understanding of what kind of stuff I'm trying to bring into my life. And I know that other people are thinking about that a lot too, but it's not always about a relationship dynamic. So we might be a little deceiving in saying this is a story about a relationship being upended and somebody coming to yourself. This is different. This is not all love in that form. Who else? I think that's the richness right there.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just so much that has gone into this. And one more theme I feel like, which is so central to this, and that we've talked about a lot in this process, is the validation of rage.
I was writing these poems when I was doing the CA Lions project at the Alliance, and that I was Chaos Unit, right? Chaos Unit, I don't know if Chaos Unit was, just an extremely like trauma impacted person, but had such a depth of love, like just a major black hole of love. And I love black holes too right now, because black holes have been thought to be, just sucking things in. No, they started spewing out beautiful gaseous positive gases that might be from another universe. Okay? Like, no, it's not what you thought it was. It's not, homie. So yeah, at that time, like that play, thinking about things coming from dark places and then being misconceived, misconstrued, completely misinterpreted. There is a righteous rage and defense of oneself through a physical defense, a violent defense is justified when trying to reclaim oneself. And that's definitely where this is coming from in some regard.
Yeah, no, I feel that so much. In our rehearsal process and in where it stands now, it's just like like you said earlier about like leaning into the ugly and leaning into that, and the validation of this rage, I think is something that's extremely important to understanding RIP. But you know, before we sign off, is there anything that you else you wanted, you know, folks to know engaging with this work about what you your experience of it, anything like that? Any other thoughts?
Hmm. I don't know. I'm thinking about the child component, and people may or may not catch it, right? Like it's one of those things. What do we give? What do we share with our children? I think that's important to bring out, because this is something that is about. It's a forewarning. It's an admonishment that you don't have to be me. This is me as a parent to it. You don't have to be me. We have a responsibility to support our children to be who they seek to be. And I think we're definitely a part of a generation of that is having, you know, my mom's a boomer.
Yeah, my mom's a boomer.
Yeah. You can actually do whoever you want to be. Oh, you don't have to. Even you don't have to adhere to these family dynamics. This is a bucking of all of the systems that are rooted in westernized colonialist notions, right? There is nothing wrong with culture. There is nothing wrong with appreciating our history, but there is something to be said about all of those. That's why it's multidisciplinary. This is on living on multiple planes. This is history, this is present, and this is future colliding and saying, you don't have to be me.
Right.
So who do you want to be? And what does it look like to try to get to that choice in the self, and to support that legacy, the future legacy of becoming who it seeks to be. I think that's it. That's
Yeah.
church.
Yeah, breaking the chain, breaking the cycle, and ripping away, if you will, the tradition and coming into your own. Yeah, I think that's
Fuck your exoskeleton.
I like that. You don't have to be me. That's great. You can be yourself, and whatever that self is. Yeah. Well, this has been really great. I'm really excited to see, you know, the final product. This process, though, has just been so enlightening that to me, sometimes even the final product, it's like, I just had so much of a great time getting there, right? Like,
no,
that it's not even about that. Yeah.
No, it's not. This is a beginning of it, right? I feel like, you know, this has been extremely experimental, and I don't believe in, you know, nothing that I do is let go. It's like, okay, well, what's the next form of it? How do I merge it, move forward? And I think that's what we're gonna do in the future. So expect
wait on it. Just wait. Cool.
Wait on it. We got forms.
All right. Thanks, Danny, for sitting down and talking. We're very excited for audiences to experience this, whatever you get from it. It's kind of like visual art in that way, where it's like, whatever you get from it, we want to know what that is. So I can't wait to see what we all say about